Have you ever found yourself caught in an emotional whirlwind, where anger, anxiety, or even sadness seem to take over everything? If so, you're not alone. Most of us have been through moments like this, where emotions feel overwhelming and unpredictable. But what if I told you that, throughout history, thinkers like the Stoics developed powerful techniques to help us control these emotions instead of being controlled by them? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy born in Greece, offers practical and profound lessons that can transform how we handle emotional challenges in our daily lives. Instead of surrendering to the chaos of our emotions, we can learn to observe, understand, and manage what we feel. Today, you'll learn 7 Stoic techniques that will help you master your emotions and live with greater balance, even in the most challenging moments. Stick with me, because these strategies might be exactly what you need to shift your emotional state and build resilience in the face of life's difficulties. 1. Distinguish what you can control from what you can't. The first Stoic technique we'll explore is both simple and transformative, distinguishing what you can control from what you can't. This practice might seem straightforward, but its impact on our emotional lives is profound. The Stoics teach us that much of our anguish and suffering comes from trying to control things that are completely beyond our reach. This could be other people's behavior, external circumstances, or even the course of world events. When we focus our energy on things we can't control, we end up becoming slaves to our emotions. For example, if you get angry about traffic, you're trying to control something you have no power over. The traffic will keep happening, people will keep driving the way they want, and your anger won't change any of that. The same applies to conflicts with others, like an argument at work or criticism you receive. We can control our reactions, our thoughts about the situation, and the attitude we choose to take, but we can't control how others behave or respond. By applying the principle of focusing on what's within our control, you start to realize that many of your feelings of frustration, anxiety, or anger stem from an illusion of control. Stoicism teaches us that we only have full control over our thoughts and actions. This means that when something outside our control happens, the best approach isn't to fight against reality but to accept it and focus on what we can change, our own responses and behaviors. This gives us immense power. By concentrating on what we can control, we gain the ability to change how we view and handle any situation. Most importantly, when you apply this concept in your daily life, you'll notice that instead of being consumed by emotions, you begin to live more calmly, balanced, and resiliently, no longer a hostage to what's beyond your reach. 2. Negative visualization exercise. The second Stoic technique we can apply in our daily lives to master our emotions is the exercise of negative visualization, a profound concept that might seem a bit contradictory at first glance. This exercise suggests that instead of focusing solely on what we hope will go well or chasing uninterrupted happiness, we should consciously visualize the worst-case scenarios in various life situations. This doesn't mean being pessimistic or obsessing over negativity, but rather preparing our minds to accept the possibility of loss, failure, or adversity. The logic behind this exercise is that by mentally rehearsing negative situations and emotionally preparing for them, we become more resilient and balanced when they actually occur. For example, if you're about to present an important project at work, you might ask yourself, what if people don't like my presentation? What if I make a mistake while speaking? Negative visualization isn't meant to paralyze you with fear, but to help you accept these possibilities and move forward with calmness. The idea is that by mentally anticipating challenges, you reduce the emotional impact of potential disappointments, because if the worst does happen, you've already trained your mind to handle it more calmly and rationally. Additionally, practicing this exercise helps you appreciate the good moments in life even more, as imagining the loss of something or someone important makes it easier to understand the true value of what we have and to feel gratitude for it. In essence, negative visualization helps us transform how we face the unexpected, making us emotionally stronger and less vulnerable to the suffering caused by surprise and change. This doesn't mean we should live in fear of what might happen, but rather that we should be prepared to live with balance, no matter what life throws our way. 3. The practice of indifference. The third Stoic technique we'll explore is the practice of indifference, which might initially sound cold and detached. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful tools for mastering emotions and achieving a more balanced life. When we talk about indifference in the context of Stoicism, we're not referring to a lack of empathy or care for others, but rather to the ability to prevent external factors and circumstances beyond our control from deeply affecting our inner peace. The Stoics teach us to train our minds not to react impulsively or emotionally to situations we can't control. Imagine someone unfairly insults or criticizes you. The natural reaction might be anger, hurt, or frustration, right? But according to the Stoics, we should practice indifference in such situations. This doesn't mean being indifferent to the person or ignoring the impact of their words, but rather recognizing that the other person's behavior is beyond our control. We can't control what others think or say, but we can choose how to respond. By adopting indifference, you learn not to internalize aggression or criticism, understanding that your peace of mind shouldn't depend on others' actions. This practice is key to freeing ourselves from the need for external approval or validation. Instead of reacting automatically, indifference allows us to observe situations with a more rational and serene perspective, preventing our emotions from being swept away by external impulses. This brings significant emotional benefits, as adopting an attitude of indifference toward things we can't control helps us maintain balance and tranquility, no matter what's happening around us. At its core, true Stoic indifference is an attitude of wisdom, where you allow yourself to be guided by your own virtues, rather than being shaped by the actions of others or external circumstances. 4. Reflecting on impermanence. The fourth Stoic technique we'll explore is reflecting on impermanence, an essential principle for managing emotions and finding serenity amid life's ups and downs. For the Stoics, impermanence is an inescapable truth. Everything in the universe is constantly changing. Nothing is permanent, not our joys, nor our struggles. Deeply understanding and accepting this is one of the greatest steps toward freeing ourselves from the attachment and frustration that so often control us. When we reflect on impermanence, we're reminded that situations and emotions, whether positive or negative, are temporary. This means that even in moments of pain or suffering, we can find comfort in the idea that this phase will pass. Sadness, anxiety, fear, they all have an end. Similarly, when we're experiencing great happiness or success, it's important to remember that impermanence applies to these moments too. This teaches us not to cling too tightly to these feelings, but to live in the present with gratitude, enjoying the good things without depending on them for our happiness. Reflecting on impermanence helps us accept that life is in constant flux and that, instead of trying to control or resist change, we can learn to flow with it. By understanding that everything passes, we begin to develop greater emotional resilience because we know that tough times aren't eternal and that, with time, things can improve. Similarly, this awareness helps us avoid getting lost in excess during moments of great success or joy. By accepting impermanence, we cultivate the ability to appreciate the present moment without fearing or dreading what's to come. This state of acceptance brings deep peace, allowing us to live with more balance, knowing that emotions, like life circumstances, are temporary, and what truly matters is how we choose to live and respond to them. 5. Developing self-discipline. The fifth Stoic technique, crucial for mastering our emotions and achieving greater inner balance, is developing self-discipline. For the Stoics, self-discipline is seen as an essential virtue, not just for controlling emotions but for living a good life. The core idea of this practice is the ability to control our impulses, desires, and reactions, not letting them dominate our decisions or actions. We live in a society where we're constantly bombarded with stimuli that push us to act impulsively, whether it's a notification on our phone, criticism on social media, or the pressure to meet external expectations. Stoic self-discipline teaches us to act with rationality and intention, rather than reacting automatically in ways we might later regret. A classic example is managing anger. When someone provokes us, our natural reaction might be to retaliate immediately, perhaps even aggressively. However, the Stoics suggest that instead of following this impulse, we should take a step back, breathe deeply, and reflect before acting. Self-discipline allows us not only to control our immediate impulses, but also to develop more strategic and mindful behavior in response to our emotions. This doesn't mean suppressing what we feel, but rather choosing how to respond to those feelings in a more balanced and wise way. By developing self-discipline, we begin to see that we have the power to shape our responses to life's challenges, rather than being victims of our own impulses. One of the greatest benefits of this practice is that it gives us the ability to stay true to our values, even under pressure, allowing us to act with integrity and calm. Self-discipline is also directly linked to our ability to remain composed in adverse situations. By being disciplined, we don't let stress, anger, or fear pull us away from our goals or inner peace. Through constant practice, self-discipline becomes second nature, enabling us to live with greater balance, more control over our emotional reactions, and a stronger connection to our life's purpose. In this way, by cultivating this virtue, we not only master our emotions, but also move closer to a more balanced and fulfilled version of ourselves. 6. Daily meditation and reflection. The sixth Stoic technique we'll explore is daily meditation and reflection, a powerful practice that helps us master our emotions and strengthen our minds in the face of life's challenges. For the Stoics, meditation wasn't just about contemplation, it was a path to deep self-awareness. Every day, they set aside time to reflect on their actions, thoughts, and reactions. This daily introspection is essential for helping us recognize our emotional patterns, understand what affects us, and make more balanced decisions. By meditating on our day, we're able to look at the situations we've experienced with a clearer, more impartial lens, evaluating how we responded to challenges and whether our reactions aligned with our values and goals. This practice helps us understand not only what we did, but also what we could have done differently. By reflecting on our failures and successes honestly and without judgment, we create an opportunity for personal growth. Additionally, Stoic daily meditation teaches us to cultivate an attitude of gratitude and acceptance toward life. As we focus on what happened throughout the day, we're reminded that every experience, whether positive or negative, is a chance to learn. This gives us a more balanced perspective, allowing us to appreciate the present and learn from the past without carrying the weight of regret or anxiety about the future. Daily reflection is also tied to emotional awareness, being mindful of how our emotions influence our thoughts and behaviors. By engaging in this constant self-assessment, we become more attuned to our automatic reactions and, in turn, can make more conscious decisions, avoiding being driven by impulse or momentary emotions. This ongoing process of meditation and reflection gradually helps us take control of our minds, making us more resilient, calm, and focused. By setting aside time to reflect each day, we create a clearer mental space, free of judgment and more open to wisdom, which helps us navigate life's emotional turbulence with greater balance and serenity. 7. Practicing gratitude. The seventh and final Stoic technique we'll discuss is one of the most transformative and simple yet profoundly impactful practices: gratitude. While often underestimated, gratitude has the power to shift our focus from what we lack or what bothers us to what we already have and the blessings already present in our lives. In the context of Stoicism, gratitude is seen as a way to free ourselves from the constant dissatisfaction that fuels negative emotions like excessive desire and frustration. By cultivating an attitude of gratitude, we can change our perspective on life, recognizing that even in adversity, there's always something to be grateful for. Stoicism teaches us not to rely on external things to bring us lasting happiness or satisfaction. Instead, we should learn to be grateful for the simple things, the small daily victories, and even the challenges that offer us opportunities for growth and learning. This daily practice of gratitude helps reduce anxiety and the insatiable desire for more because, by focusing on what we already have, we begin to see that our lives are full of riches, even if they aren't always obvious at first glance. Moreover, gratitude teaches us to value the present without obsessing over the future or clinging to the past. It helps us live with more lightness, as it makes us more aware of the good things already in our lives. Whether it's the relationships we've built, our health, our work, or even the moments of peace we often overlook. The constant practice of gratitude also connects us to our humanity, as it helps us realize that, despite difficulties, there's always something to celebrate. By practicing gratitude, we develop a mindset of abundance, where we're able to recognize and appreciate what we have, rather than living with a sense of lack or an endless pursuit of more. This transforms how we see the world. Instead of being driven by scarcity and desire, we begin to be guided by recognition and appreciation for what truly matters. This simple habit of pausing and reflecting on what we're grateful for can deeply transform our emotional balance and, ultimately, our outlook on life as a whole. So, what do you think of these 7 Stoic techniques? Now it's time to put them into practice in your daily life and start mastering your emotions with more calm and wisdom. Remember, Stoicism isn't about eliminating emotions. It's about learning to manage them so you can live a more balanced and serene life. If you enjoyed this content, give it a like, share it with that friend who's always caught up in their emotions, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time.